And we are back. Welcome back, everybody, to this live stream. This time we're here for the qualifying session ahead of the French Grand Prix here at Ricard. I am JW97, and once again, I am joined by Dennis Graff.
Terve.
Yep, and we're about to get underway with this qualifying session. So I might as well ask you, Dennis, who do you believe will be eliminated in the first part of qualifying?
I think for Q1 it's a bit straightforward with both Williams, both Aston Martins, one Alfa Romeo and one McLaren.
I'm going to say both Aston Martins, both Williamses, Alfa Romeo and a McLaren. That's my prediction.
So we basically have the same.
Yes, indeed. Of course, you guys can leave your predictions in the stream chat if you want to as well. So we'll be about to get underway with this qualifying session. As for some reason, my Mac has just decided to open up the music tab there for no reason. But anyway, we're about to get underway during this qualifying session. 18 minutes on the clock for Q1, as we wait to see who's going to be the first to go out onto the racetrack here at Ricard. As we now wait to get out onto the track. As it looks like there is some movement there, just trying to figure out who those mechanics are. I think that they're AlphaTauri mechanics, but I think I can see some more mechanics further down as well. Looks like the Williams mechanics are getting ready to send one of their cars out. Looks like Williams is going out on track first of all. Which Williams is that? That looks to be, I think that's Felix Sonntag that's going out in first. He is. He's followed by Miklos Gal as well, as they now make their way onto the track, as I will now read your guys' predictions, as there's only one prediction so far then in the stream chat, and that is Robert Ionescu. He says both Aston Martins, both Williamses and both McLarens will get eliminated in this part of qualifying. So Sonntag now then just making his way around the section of corners, as he'll be preparing to start his lap quite soon. Of course, all 22 cars will go out on track at the same time, and then of course with the thing with Q1, usually when it comes to the second flying laps, usually one driver gets left behind during the second runs, of course. So Sonntag now they're preparing to start his lap very soon, as he now makes his way through the bus stop chicane, through the right and left-hander. Now then we will go, as now still 8 more cars yet to go out on track, and hopefully for Sonntag's sake he doesn't get held up by any of them. Same can't be said for all the other cars that are going out onto the racetrack, as now Sonntag making his way through the double right-hander now, then coming out of that turn, using a bit of curb on the outside before making his way through into the left-hander. And now coming out of the corner, as now heading into the final couple of corners, will go Felix Sonntag in the Williams now then, as he'll now make his way into the final corner and onto the pit straight now then will go Felix Sonntag in at the Williams now then, as he comes down onto the pit straight, as Sonntag now then is about to start his first flying lap. All 22 cars are now out on the racetrack, so no problems there whatsoever, as Sonntag now then makes his way into the first few corners, through into turn 1 and then into turn 2 now then we will go, as he now makes his way out the corner, and now down towards turns 3 and 4 he will soon approach now then a very quick session of corners. Lift off through here, a little bit of braking through into the second part, and then braking it down into turn 5, as now he'll make his way around this long swooping right-hander of turn 6 now then, as it's quite a medium speed corner. You can lift off the acceleration there, flat out for the left-hander, approaching the end of the first sector, as it's a 31.995 he does in the first sector. What is everybody else doing in the first sector? A 31.597 for Gal in the first sector, so just 4 tenths up on Felix Sonntag there into the first sector. 31.402 for Ricard in the Mercedes. A 31. I think that says 531 there for Q-Pot there, and a few more times going on. A 32.399 for Griffiths there. 56.741 for Sonntag now then going through into that middle sector, as now coming through into the left-hander will go the German drivers. He's only got a few more corners to navigate before he ends his lap now then. So approaching the penultimate corner now on the racetrack, flicking the car in through turns 14 and then into the final corner of turn 17, I think that says, in fact. I do apologise. As now coming down the pit straight now then we'll go Felix Sonntag in the Williams, as he is now going to cross the line. And what is the benchmark of time going to be? It is a 1:28.662, which gets beaten by Gal by 5 tenths of a second. Here comes Ricard in the Mercedes. He's now coming down onto the pit straight. He should go to the top of the timing screens, but let's see. Ricard across the line He will go in the Mercedes, and he goes quickest by 3/10 of a second at 1:27.711. Here comes Jamie Griffiths in the Williams across the line. He will go, and he goes into 4th, 3 seconds off, in fact, and 3 seconds off for Cupok, who got held up there, as Chatfield goes into 4th place. Galloway to the top of the timing screen, surprisingly, at 1:27.701, but gets beaten there by Lopez by 5/10 of a second. Here comes Andre Videri in the Aston Martin across the line. He will go there, as Cupok and Griffiths look like they held up each other there. As Videri goes 6th, they make that 7th, because Valdinger goes 5th. Rote goes into 2nd place. Quarg now then across the line, he goes into 5th place. Evan Byrne in the Red Bull, he crosses the line, goes into 2nd place, a 10th off of Lopez. De Rosa goes 12th, 4th for Jesus Perinen. Here comes Joantas Martins. Across the line he will go, goes P12 in the Aston, P9 for Amelia Wilson, as here comes Joseph Willows now then in the McLaren. He crosses the line and he goes into 15th place, as now Mocho goes into 8th position. Laura Chung in the Lamborghini, she will now cross the line, goes into 4th, so both McLarens in the drop zone right now. It's only P20 for Rahul Patel there, and that looked like a pretty poor lap. I wonder if he made a mistake in the first sector there. Let's quickly have a look, as he was 1.7 seconds off in sector 1, and it might be because his own teammate has actually overtaken him into the first corner here, so a little bit of miscommunication there going on at Lamborghini, Dennis.
Yeah, indeed. Also, one thing, ouch. To get overtaken by your own teammate and have such a big gap at the end, it's not good. Not good at all.
Oh, definitely not, as that is the first flying laps done, with Lopez at the top by a 10th of a second ahead of Byrne and Roke. Yeah, quite a lot of hold-ups during that lap, particularly for Cupok and Griffiths, because it looked like those two were holding each other up on their lap, hence why they're 3.6 seconds off the pace. But yeah, not the best of first laps for Amar Khan, it must be said, down in 7th place.
Yeah, not a good lap, but of course, Q1, you have to be in P16 at best. I think it could be quite even clever to put not so much effort into Q1 if you have a top car. But yeah, it's not the biggest worry for car, to be honest.
Yep, as currently in the drop zone then, we have Willows, De Rosa, Kloss, Patel, Cupok and Griffiths. Kloss also in the drop zone at the moment. I don't know if he got held up by any traffic at all. I didn't quite see when we were looking at his onboard for a brief period of time. But anyway, as Griffiths will now get wheeled back into the garage quite soon. So he's currently down in 22nd position. So anyways, he now gets wheeled back into the garage in the Williams, as now we will wait for the second run to happen. Chung is still yet to come back into the pit. Same with teammate Patel. And I bet Rahul, judging from what he said in the stream chat, they're clearly not happy with the fact that he got overtaken by Laura Chung on that lap. And, well, he'll be looking to get an improvement as best he can. Looks like the McLaren has had a little bit of contact in the pit lane, and so it's spurring off a little bit there, I just saw in the distance. But should be able to retrieve that as quick as possible, because... yeah, GP4 logic for you. But anyway, we wait for the second flying laps to happen, as more cars are heading back into the pit lane as we speak. And it looks like the the Williams mechanics and Alpha Time mechanics are getting ready to send Gal and Sontag back out. Of course, let's not forget that one car does get left behind during the second run, so we'll have to wait and see who that is. Gal tried to go, but Sontag beats him to the punch there. So Sontag will once again be the first one onto the track for the second flying laps here in Q1. And so far, Sontag in the top 16 threshold, but of course there was a lot of people getting held up. And it looks like the Mercedes there could get held up by Sontag, that being, who is it? That is Amar Khan, in fact. So Khan could get held up here by Sontag if he is not careful. But it looks like he might actually dispose of him pretty quickly. In fact, maybe get him into turn 3. And he will do pretty easily there. So Car will not have any traffic whatsoever. So Sontag getting through the traffic pretty easily there to now go through into the double right-hander. But anyway, as Car now then preparing to start his lap quite soon now then, as he makes his way onto the back straight before approaching the bus-stop chicane, as we have just under 10.5 minutes to go now then in this session. So he's now starting to blast away from that Williams. There's a few more cars are now heading out on track, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen on the timing tower. As so far, Willows, De Rosa, Patel and Griffiths are still yet to make their way onto the track. Of course, as mentioned, one of them is possibly going to get left behind, so we'll have to wait and see who that ends up being. Car now then through into the double right-hander now. Then they will go as the Mercedes now then makes his way into the final few corners on the racetrack, as now Amar Khan approaches the final couple of corners. He will go around the penultimate corner goes Amar Khan. He now makes it into the final corner and onto the pit straight now then to prepare for his lap, as we'll see if he can try and get up to where Lopez, Byrne and Roque is at the moment, currently down in 7th place, and there is a bit of traffic that's come out in front of him there, and I think Carr might have got held up there, and that is from the Red Bull. I think that was George Roque coming out of the pits there, so already Carr's lap getting compromised as a result there. So it looks like on this occasion, Dennis, no such improvement for Amar Carr.
No, not really, but as mentioned before, it's still Q1. He has a good gap to the bottom 6. So I think it's not a big worry for him, but of course he won't be happy that his lap is ruined.
Indeed, as Carl now then making his way towards the chicane now then, as you can see down on his personal best in the first sector as a result, and it is Michael Mocha that's the one that's been left behind during these runs, so he's going to sit in the garage for this little bit and come back out when most people are doing their third runs in this session, as now flat out for the right-hander goes Amar Khan, and again 2/10 off his personal best in the middle sector thanks to that hold up from George Roque in front there, as now coming out of the Boissé section of track now then through into the left-hander goes Amar Khan, as he'll now make his way through into the final few turns on the racetrack now then. Khan now then into the penultimate corner, and now into the final corner and onto the pit straight will go Amar Khan in the Mercedes, as he will now make his way onto the pit straight, and Amar Khan is now going to cross the line, and I'm not expecting him to improve thanks to that hold up, and in fact he does. He finds some time in the last sector, but he goes up only one place into 6th position. Sontar goes up to 13th. Meanwhile, Gao looks like he might have got held up. He doesn't improve. Byrne starts his lap. A few more cars starting their laps. Kloss is up. He obviously needs to improve because he's currently in the drop zone as we speak right now, as the Polish driver now then comes down the pit straight and across the line. He will soon approach. Kloss now then across the line in the Haas, and he goes into 8th position, so gets out of the drop zone, pushes Martins into the drop zone as a result. Kupok on improvement, he needs to because he got held up, of course, by Jamie Griffiths earlier on. He crosses the line and goes only 18th with that lap,
Ooh.
so that's not very good, as Lopez improves even further to go on a 1:26.440. That's a very good lap there for Lopez. Goes 8 tenths clear of Evan Byrne. Videri, no improvement, stays where he is. Joantis Martins also not an improvement. He's down in 17, having been pushed into the drop zone by Bartish Kloss there. Martins across the line. He will now go, and he does not improve. Amelia Wilson, no improvement for her. She stays in 12th. Roman Quag is on an improvement. He's now going to cross the line, and he goes into 2nd place, in fact. So a very good lap there for the Frenchman. Chatfield also up on his personal best in the Ferrari, and he goes only 15th for that lap. Not a very good lap for him. P5 for Jake Galloway, meanwhile, but still just over a second behind Franco Lopez. Here comes Jamie Griffiths. He goes 18th, so goes in front of Cupot there, so he does improve. Willow's also an improvement. Can he get out of the drop zone? And he can. He goes up into 12th. That pushes Videri now into the drop zone. Here comes George Roque now then in the Red Bull. He's up on his personal best. The Red Bull driver crosses the line, and he goes into 2nd place, 3 tenths off of Franco Lopez there. Perinen also up on his personal best, currently in 7th place, as the Spaniard crosses the line, goes into 5th, 9 tenths off of Lopez. P3 for Evan Byrne, so an improvement there for the Irishman. De Rosa also on an improvement. Can he get out of the drop zone? And no, he can't. He only improves, but remains in 21st position. Patel down to last, and of course it looks like the two Lamborghinis are once again impeding each other here, but they're still up on their personal best of both Patel and Chung here. Let's see how much this has affected them. Patel across the line and goes into 9th. EV still in the drop zone, and Chung doesn't improve, so clearly a lack of communication going on at Lamborghini, it seems.
Yeah, indeed. Now, one time it's, I think, excusable, but 2 times that's very weird indeed. But also, I think De Rosa currently in last and Cupok only in 21st, which would be a big surprise. As such would be that Felix Sonntag is still currently in P15.
He's still currently in the top 16 threshold, but of course we've still got plenty of time to go at the moment, as we wait to see who is going to be next on the track. I would expect there to be one more flying lap, of course, before the session comes to a close. But so far then in the drop zone, we have Videri, Martins, Patel, Griffiths, Kupok and De Rosa at this stage of qualifying. Sontar currently in the top 16 threshold at the moment, so whether or not he can keep that up, we'll have to wait and see. Chatfield, though, could also be in a little bit of danger here, Dennis. He's only in 16th place, and although he did improve on his previous lap, he didn't really gain that many positions.
Yes, he's still 2 seconds off.
Did you cut out there, or was that just me there not responding? As I think Dennis might have actually been cut off, I think, there, because I can't hear him. So, anyway, yes, now Sontag is making his way out on track for the third flying lap. I think Dennis might have some technical issues. But anyway, is now Sontag now then making his way through into the first couple of corners now then, as he will be preparing to start a lap, as this time he hasn't got a Mercedes interfering with him on this occasion, as he'll be preparing to see if he could try and improve and see if he has done enough to maybe get the Williams through into Q2 for, I think, the first time this season. So that will be very, very interesting indeed, as now he makes his way through the corner. Q-Pock on track, and Dennis is back with us. Did you cut out there for a moment?
Yeah, my Discord just shut down completely.
All right, because you were talking about a little bit there with Chris Chatfield's pace.
Yeah, P16, I mean, he is, almost a second behind his teammate, which is very, very worrying. But there's still one shot for everybody except for one driver. But now Chatfield is on track, so he definitely has to push.
Yeah, indeed, as now Sontag will make his way into the left-hander now, then we go, as now Sontag will be preparing to start his next flying lap in the Williams now then, as he makes his way into the penultimate corner. As now through the penultimate corner, now into the final corner and onto the pit straight. And now coming down towards the pit straight goes Sontag, as he'll start his third and final flying lap now then in the Williams, as now Sontag starts his lap. As luckily for him, he didn't get held up by that Aston Martin that was just appearing out of the pits there. So through into the first few corners now, then we'll go Felix Sontag in the Williams as he comes out of turn 2 and now making his way towards turns 3, 4 and 5. And so now through the right, then into the left and then into the double right-hander will go Felix Sontag now then. So through the first part and then into the second part will go the German driver, and we'll see if he's able to go up on his personal best now then in the Lamborghini powered Williams, making his way onto the back straight now then, and he is in fact down on his personal best by 9/10 of a second, so he's way off his personal best. And I didn't see any mistakes from Sontag there, as in fact he's getting a little bit impeded there by the Mercedes, or I think that was Lopez that time by, because I noticed that car came out a lot later than usual, so I think that was Lopez that time by that just got overtaken Felix Sontag. I don't know if that Mercedes is on a lap in front of Sontag there, because he's just been overtaken as a result. In fact, no, Lopez has only just come out onto the racetrack there, and in fact it was Lopez that was coming out, not the Aston Martin. So
He was us out, by the way.
Yep, and De Rosa stayed in the pit, so yeah, De Rosa is going to be out of qualifying, so he's going to be the only one left, and clearly a McLaren is going to be starting last for tomorrow's race. That is disappointing for Kirishima De Rosa in the McLaren. He is out of qualifying, so we'll have to wait and see who is also going to join him as well. Sontag now then making his way out of the final turn and onto the pit straight now then will go the German driver, as Sontag now then crosses the line in the Williams, and he does not improve as expected. He stays in 15, and we're hoping he's done enough to get through into Q2, but it might be a little bit tough. Q-Pock is up on his personal best. Can he get out of the drop zone now then? Q-Pock across the line he goes, and he goes up to 9th. He needed to do that, so he now pushes Chatfield into the drop zone, so pressure on him. Car doesn't improve, he stays in 8th, so not the best Q1 for him. Mocho up on his personal best, currently in 11th place behind teammate Barch's Kloss, as now Michael Mocho now then comes down the pit straight and across the line. He will now go, and he goes into, well, he improves, but he stays in 11th position. A few cars about to start the lap. Kloss is also up on his personal best, currently in 10th place. Might get a little bit of slipstream from Patel in front in the Lamborghini. At least this time the Lamborghinis have actually separated from each other on this occasion, as now Barch's Kloss crosses the line in the Haas, and can he improve? He most definitely can. He goes up into 9th position. Chatfield, he's currently in the drop zone. Can he push Sontag out of qualifying now? Then Chatfield across the line he goes, and he goes up to 12th. So Sontag is out of qualifying. He dropped down to 17th place. No improvement for Quark. Here comes Jake Galloway in the other Ferrari, as now he crosses the line and he stays in P6. Miklos Gau across the line he goes, currently in 13th position, and he goes up to 6th. A big improvement there. Amelia Wilson across the line she goes. She remains in 15th position. Johannes Martins in the Aston Martin. Can he get out of the drop zone? across the line, and no, he can't. He is out. He stays in 19th position. George Roque up on his personal best. Can he beat Lopez to the top of the timing screens? Let's see. George Roque across the line he goes in the Red Bull. Can he beat Lopez to the top? No, he can't, but he does improve regardless, but remains in second place. Lopez not up on his personal best either. He's now going to cross the line. No improvement. He stays where he is for the time being. As now we look at Andre Videri, he's up on his personal best, and he goes 18th, not able to get out of the drop zone, so he is out of qualifying. Griffiths, no improvement, he stays in 21st position. No improvement for him as we wait for Patel to cross the line very soon because he's on a lap. As now Perinen just comes out of the final turn. 10 seconds left, 9, 8, and now 7, 6, and now 5, 4, 3, as Perinen crosses the line, no improvement. 2, 1 and 0. Checkered flag is out. That's the end of the session. Here comes Joseph Willows, who's currently in 14th place at the moment. Looks like he's going to be the only McLaren into Q2. No improvement. He stays in 14th. As across the line goes Bent Valdinger. He stays 16th. He's got to pray that Patel's not on improvement, and he's not on an improvement. It's Rahul Patel, and it looks like he got held up again by Barger's class. He had traffic issues. He was up on his personal best in the first sector, but not by much. And Patel is out of qualifying. He's down in 20th position, and he is definitely not going to be a very happy man indeed. He got impeded by traffic on 3 separate occasions there.
Yeah, he will be absolutely fuming, but of course, at one point his car was just not quick enough. He got overtaken, I think, on 2 of 3 occasions. So yeah, that's his qualifying unfortunately over.
And the top 3 then, Lopez, Roque and Byrne. In your bottom 6 are Felix Sontag, Andre Videri, Joantis Martins, Rahul Patel, Jamie Griffiths and Kirishima De Rosa. McLaren is going to be starting last in tomorrow's race. Very disappointing indeed. Well, we're just going to take a brief pause for the moment whilst we get everything prepared for Q2. But in the meantime, guys, you can let us know your prediction on who you believe will be eliminated in the second part of qualifying. But in the meantime, I'm just going to mute myself and get the tweet prepared for Twitter. So apologies if I go silent for the moment. I am back, and the tweet is now up on Twitter. And so, obviously, it's safe to say that Patel is very frustrated with that one, given the traffic that he was held up in on 3 separate occasions. And, well, you do have to feel sorry for him a little bit there, Dennis.
Yeah, you definitely have to feel sorry for him because he was very unlucky. But tomorrow it's a different day. Because tomorrow everything is possible. They definitely won't give up.
Indeed, and we'll obviously have to wait and see what happens in Q2, of course, and of course Patel will have to make a comeback. As we've got the screen up now, then getting ready for Q2. Anybody who needs a reminder of the weather, of course, because we didn't mention it at the top of the show, it is going to be dry throughout the entirety of qualifying, so no rain expected. So I might as well ask you, Dennis, who do you believe will be eliminated in the second part of qualifying?
I think both Alfa Romeos will be eliminated, then Willows, then both Hasses, and then one Alpha Tauri.
Okay, I'm going to say Willows. Also going to say the I'm also going to say as well, both Alfa Romeos will get eliminated. So both Valdinger and Wilson. I'm also going to say, I think I'm going to say an Alpha Tauri will get eliminated. One Haas will get eliminated, and I'm also going to say, who else am I going to say? You know what? As a bit of a gamble, I'm also going to say one Ferrari as well. I think that's what I'm going to go with as we're about to get underway in the second part of qualifying. As it looks like, who's that? It looks like AlphaTauri getting ready to go out first once again, like we saw with Gal previously in Q1. And it looks like it's going to be Gal again that's going to go out first. And it looks like, in fact, both AlphaTauris are going out on track at the same time, I think that is. No, that was a Haas, in fact, I do apologise. But Gal is going out on track first of all in the AlphaTauri, as I now read the only prediction that's in the stream chat. And that is, of course, from Rob, who says, Willows, both Alfa Romeos, one Alpha Tauri, one Ferrari, and he also believes Laura Chung will get eliminated as well. So he thinks that neither Lamborghini will be featured in Q3 at all. So very interesting there. As now Miklos Gal makes his way into the double right-hander, as he'll be starting his lap quite soon now then, as all 16 cars will be making their way onto the track, still needing 8 more cars to come out, as we have just under 14 minutes now then in the session. Of course, this is obviously a 15-minute session, of course, unlike in Q1 where it's 18 minutes. Of course, the final 2 are 15-minute sessions, because of course we can't go down to either 12 or 10 minutes on Grand Prix 4, as the lowest amount of time you can have in qualifying on Grand Prix 4 is 15 minutes. So that's pretty much that. As Mikkel Skal now then, just making his way towards the flat-out right-hander now, then he will go, as Gal will be starting his lap very soon now then, as he makes his way through into the double right-hander now then on the racetrack, as he comes around these section of corners. Now Gal makes his way through into the left-hander now then, as he will be starting his lap quite soon now then in the Alpha Tauri, as all 16 cars are now out on track, so Gal should not have any traffic issues whatsoever. Of course, a 2-time winner around here at Paul Ricard, as Gal just comes out of the final turn and onto the pit straight now then. He will go, as Miklos Gal is about to start his lap now then in the Alpha Tauri. Gal starts his lap now then, as he now makes his way down towards the first corner now then. Turn 1 and then into turn 2 now then we will go, as now coming out of that corner. I think it looked like he had a little bit of a twitch going through into turn 1 there, not really hooking up the first corner as much as you would hope for. In fact, I think it's because that Haas was actually overtaking him there. That's Bartosz Klos. So both Klos and Gal may be impeding each other on their first flying laps here of Q2. I don't think either of them are going to be particularly happy with each other, it's fair to say. As Klos now that makes his way through the flat-out left-hander. Let's see what his first sector looks like as a result. And it is a 31.506 and a 32.631. So, yeah, in fact, I think both of their laps are going to get compromised as a result. In fact, 31.603 only for Quag and a 31.338 for Galloway. I wonder if Quag's also getting held up on that lap. So it looks like we're seeing quite a bit of traffic on these first flying laps here in Q2, as now Klos will go flat out through the right-hander and now making his way towards the double right-hander of the Boissé, a 56.230 in the middle sector for the Haas driver now, then coming out of the Boissé corner and now through the left-hander now then he goes. And now approaching the final couple of corners will go Bartosz Klos in the Haas now then, as he makes his way into the penultimate corner, this long sweeping left-hander, and now into the final corner, which is essentially a 90-degree corner, through the final turn and onto the pit straight now. Then will go Bartosz Klos in the Haas. What is the benchmarker time going to be? Bear in mind, of course, he did get slightly held up by Miklos Gal, and Gal obviously getting impeded by Klos as well. A 1:27.535. Gal goes into second place, 1.9 seconds off the pace now then, as Roman Quag crosses the line, goes to second, as Galloway goes to the top by 0.2 of a second. So not a very good lap for Roman Quag in the Renault there, as Bence Valdinger now then crosses the line as he goes into 5th position. 3 seconds off the pace. Did Valdinger make a mistake somewhere on that lap? I'm not sure. Wilson across the line goes into 4th, make that 5th now, because I think somebody's beaten there. That was Q-Pop who got some slipstream there, but I wonder if Valdinger made a mistake, because he's 3 seconds off the pace there, as now Amar Kar in the Mercedes. Okay, as Car goes to the top, here he believes that Valdinger made a mistake in the 3rd sector. As Car, as Roke only P8 on that lap there. Then here comes Michael Mocho in the Haas. As, in fact, he was up on his personal best. Did Roke made a mistake somewhere? He did. He made a mistake through into the Boissé corner, because he was actually up on Galloway, as you could see. But clearly pushing a bit too hard there, Dennis.
Yeah, and it cost him all the time he has worked on the first two sectors, and he, of course, on the second one, has to push like a madman.
P7 for Chris Chatfield, P7 now for Brennan. Lopez to the top now with a 126.962. Joseph Willows in the McLaren goes into 9th position. Here comes Evan Byrne in the Red Bull, only P4 for him at the moment. And they are the first ones done with. And a little bit of a shake-up at the moment because there were quite a lot of hold-ups and mistakes on that first lap. But currently, it's a Mercedes 1-2. But yeah, Roke has definitely got to get his skates on his second flying lap, Dennis.
Yep, indeed. But also what I want to mention is still a very good lap from Bartos Kloss, who we're looking at the moment still in P5, but having to overtake Gal on his lap.
Yeah, indeed, and surprisingly enough, in fact, Kloss still up in 5th place despite the fact that he got briefly held up by Gal there, so maybe he just had enough slipstream to maybe counteract that. But so far in the drop zone then, we have Chatfield, Wilson, Roke, Mocho, Gal, and Valdingo. A lot of traffic on that first lap and a lot of mistakes as well, so I do expect when we get onto the second flying laps, we should see quite a lot of improvements, but we will wait and see on that, as all the cars have just done a lap, that being all 16 of them, of course, will be heading back into the pits, and they'll be preparing to start their next flying lap during this qualifying session, as QPOC makes his way back in the pits, currently in the top 10, of course. Just as a reminder as well, Amelia Wilson, of course, has a 5-place grid penalty for this race, so wherever she ends up in this qualifying session, she'll drop 5 places back, and currently she's in the drop zone. So if it were to stay like this, Wilson will start in 17th place for tomorrow's race, thanks to her 5-place grid penalty. But we shall wait and see, of course. She might, by some miracle, maybe get the Alfa Romeo through into Q3, but we will wait and see on that one, as it looks like the Haas mechanics are getting ready to send Bartosz Kloss or even Michael Mocho back out onto the racetrack, and be interested to see. In fact, no, it's because they're actually going to fetch that Haas car, but it looks like they're now getting ready. In fact, the Alpha Tower mechanics are getting ready to send one of their cars out this time by, and who is that going to be this time by? It might be Miklos Gal again, as the Alpha Tauri is now out on the racetrack now then, as who is that Alpha Tauri that's just gone out onto the track, as Gal now then onto the track now then, as currently down in 15th place, so so far the only Alpha Tauri currently in the drop zone as we speak now then, as Gal will make his way towards turns 3, 4 and 5, as he'll be preparing to start his lap quite soon. Roman Quagg is also out on track for Renault. Currently the Renault's 8th and 9th so far, but there may be still room for improvement. And I do wonder why on earth Quagg was actually off on his time earlier on. He did look a little bit off on his first flying lap, same with Perenin, so maybe there's more to come from the two Renault drivers during this session. As Miklos Gal now then goes towards the bus stop chicane now then, as he'll now make his way through into the left and into the right-hander now then we will go, as now flicking it in through the left we will go, as they now make their way towards the flat-out right-hander now then we will go, as now coming around the long swooping right-hander we will go, as now heading into the double right-hander, as now Gal will be preparing to start his lap quite soon now then, as he makes his way through into the left-hander now then. So there's still a few cars in the pit lane right now, so Gal will be hoping he doesn't get any traffic, which seems to be so far throughout the sessions that we've had here. Seems to be a big thing around here at Paul Ricard, as now Gal making his way into the final turn, as he now prepares to start his next flying lap now. Then making his way onto the pit straight, and Miklos Gal will start his lap. Just keep an eye on the right hand side to see if there's any traffic, but it looks like Gal is going to get away with it, so he's going to get a clear run and see if he can try and get his Alpha Tauri into the top 10 like his teammate Davey Kupok has so far. As now Gal comes out of turn 2, making his way towards turns 3, 4 and 5. He will soon approach now then, so through into turn 3, then into turn 4 now then we go, as now they approach the double right-hander now then. Through turn 5 and then around the long swooping turn 6 goes the Hungarian driver, and we'll see what his first sector time is like compared to his personal best. Of course, Gal did get held up on his first lap, so you would imagine he'll be up on his personal best. Let's see, and yet by 1.2 seconds, so you can tell how much Kloss impacted his lap there when he got held up. As Gal now then makes his way towards the bus stop chicane, flicking it in for the left, then through into the right-hander, and then through the left we will go now then, as Gal makes his way down the back straight now then, before approaching the flat-out right-hander. He will soon come towards now then. Through the long swooping right-hander goes the Hungarian driver, as he is continuing to be up on his personal best by 1.4 seconds. 3 tenths off, in fact, of Franco Lopez. So if he can keep this up, he should easily get himself into the top 10 with this lap. But we shall see. Gal now then through the left-hander as he uses a tad bit of curb on the outside as he now makes his way into the final couple of corners. Then goes Miklos Gal in the AlphaTauri now then through the left-hander and now into the final corner, and he'll now come onto the pit straight now then, and let's see what Miklos Gal is able to do now then. He makes his way onto the pit straight and across the line goes the Hungarian driver now then, and he goes into 7th place, gets in front of teammate David Kupok. Here comes Roman Quarg now then in the Renault as Quarg now then makes his way onto the pit straight and he goes into 8th place, so he improves but still goes back to his original place. Mocho just starting his lap, same with Joseph Wells. Car is up on his personal best meanwhile as he looks to see if he can try and beat his teammate Lopez to the top of the timing sheets like he did in in fact not in, just like he did in practice I should say. So I was about to say Q1 there, but I realised Lopez top Q1 obviously, as now Carr makes his way through into the final corner. Now onto the pit straight he goes. Can he beat his teammate to the top of the timing screens? Armar Carr across the line he will go in the Mercedes, and yes he can by a 10 for 126.185 for Armar Carr there. George Roque across the line he goes, and he improves because obviously he was down on his personal best in the third sector because of that mistake, but he now goes up into 3rd place. Klaus does not improve. He might have made a mistake in fact on his lap, but he's still in 6th place for the moment. Lopez does improve. He stays in 2nd place. Bence Valdinger has got a Red Bull right behind, that being Evan Byrne, as Valdinger crosses the line and improves but stays 16th. Byrne doesn't improve. He stays in 5th. Galloway no improving. He stays in P4 at the moment. Perinin across the line no improving. He stays in the drop zone down in 11th place. Kupok no improvement for him. He stays in 10th place, on the cusp of the top 10. Here comes Laura Chung, who's currently in 7th place as she now crosses the line, and she does not improve, stays in 7th place. As Amelia Wilson across the line, she will go now then, and she remains in 14th place. Chris Chatfield up on his personal best, and he's currently in the drop zones. I'm going to have to change my headphones in between the laps as he goes up to 9th, so that pushes Kupot now into the drop zone. Mocho improves, but stays in 15th place, so he's still struggling in that hash. Joseph Willows down the pit straight now then, and across the line he will now go in the McLaren, and across the line, no improving. He stays in 13th place for the time being. But yeah, clearly Mocho and Perinin currently struggling at the moment, Dennis, as I just go and change my headphones.
Yeah, both of them are currently quite struggling, especially Mocho with his teammate being in 6th place, gap over 1.2 seconds. So yeah, that will be greatly rated for Kloss, of course. Also, yeah, only P12. He, I think, actually will be out because I don't think he will get more time.
Back as we now wait to see if anybody's going to go out and do one more flying lap now then. As obviously so far you'd think the likes of Perinin and of course Mocho want to come out, but of course Mocho I think might have a little bit of difficulty trying to get back out on track, so it might be a little bit tight for him to try and advance into the second part of qualifying. Gally's going out on track again to do one more flying lap in the AlphaTauri as he now makes his way out onto the racetrack now then, as he's going to be starting his lap very, very soon, as he now makes his way into the first couple of corners. Willows is still yet to make his way back into the pits, and I wouldn't be surprised if that will be his final flying lap, meaning he'd be out of qualifying. So let's see if anybody else is going to join Gal then for a final flying lap here at Paul Ricard, as Gal makes his way through the right, left and right-hander now then. And so coming around the double right-handers, he will go of turns 5 and 6. And just keep it on the left-hand side to see if anybody comes out onto the track. So far, it's only Gal that's on track at this stage. I think I can see some movement on the mini-map on the top right. So it looks like somebody is coming out, that being Roman Quarg, who's currently in the cusp of the top 10 at this stage. But is anybody in the drop zone going to get out on track? As they need to be very quick, because otherwise they're going to run out of time if they do. So anyway, it's 31, 30... 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. No, that's it then. So we've got our bottom 6 secure. So Kupok, Perinin, Willows, Wilson, Mocho and Valdinger will be out of qualifying. And with Wilson's 5-place grid penalty, it will mean that she will start down in 19th for tomorrow's race. But yeah, Perinin out of qualifying, Dennis.
Yeah, that's quite a shocker. Of course, very disappointing for Renault at their home event. But yes, they still have Quark in the top 10, so he could fight for a good position in a bit. But yeah, let's see Gal's lap here.
He's about to start his lap quite soon now then, as he's now just coming out of turn 2 now then on the racetrack. And of course he and Quag will be the only ones to do laps, it seems. Gal not getting held up on his lap, so it should be a clean run. Let's see if he can try and further improve on that. I don't know if you got held up at all, Valdingo, if I'm being totally honest with you. I don't remember you getting held up at all. I think it's just been, well, I think on the second lap you might have been impacted, but you were already weighed down. So, yeah, I'm not sure if you were held up or not during that lap. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, Gal up on his personal best by 81 thousandths of a second in the first sector as he makes his way into the bus stop chicane now. Then 10 seconds left, 9, 8, 7, and now 6, and then 5, 4, now 3, 2, 1, and 0, and the checkered flag is out. That is the end of the session. Of course, we know what the bottom 6 is, but we'll see if Gal and Quag are able to improve on their laps. Gal, us again up on in the middle sector, but he's lost a little bit of time, it seems. He's now only 43 thousandths up on his personal best in the middle sector. That time by as Gal now that makes his way through into the final few corners on the racetrack now then, as Gal will approach the final 2 corners. Through the penultimate turn goes Mikolas Gal in the AlphaTauri as he now makes his way through the final corner and onto the pit straight now. Then will go Mikolas Gal in the AlphaTauri now then, as Mikolas Gal is going across the line. And let's see, and he does improve to go into 6th place. What about Roman Quag, who's on a lap now then? And there he is, and he's up on his personal best in the middle sector as well. So let's see how much Quag can improve by, given he's going to be the only Renault driver in this session as a result of Perinen being eliminated in the second part of qualifying here, not getting out on time. Is now Roman Quag into the final corner and onto the pit straight now. Then he will go, and Roman Quag is now going to cross the line in the Renault. How much can he improve by? The Frenchman crosses the line and he goes into 3rd position. A very good improvement there for Roman Quag, and that is Q2 done with. Ricard, Lopez and Quag, your top 3, and your bottom 6, as a reminder, David Kupok, Jesus Perinen, Joseph Willows, Amelia Wilson, Michael Mocho, and Bence Valdingo. Of course, Amelia Wilson will start in 19th due to her 5th-place grid penalty. So we're just going to take a brief pause for a moment whilst we get everything prepared for Q3. But in the meantime, guys, you can let us know your prediction on who you believe will take pole position for tomorrow's French Grand Prix. But in the meantime, I'm just going to get the tweet prepared for Twitter, so apologies if I go silent for a little bit. I'm back, and well, hopefully we're going to be in for quite an interesting qualifying session. But it seems so far from what we've seen in the sessions, it does look like it is advantage Mercedes around here at Paul Ricard, but who knows really? Maybe the Red Bulls are holding something back in this final part of qualifying, and we're yet to see it being unleashed in this part. So we'll obviously have to wait and see on that one, as we wait now then for the next part of qualifying to happen now then, and see who is going to take pole position for tomorrow's French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard. And could it be a Mercedes front row lockout we're looking at, or could the Red Bulls maybe turn up the weight? Maybe even Romain Quark could be holding something back, given what we saw from him in the second part of qualifying, getting up into third place. But anyway, we're about to get underway for the third part of qualifying now then, and we're about to get underway. So I might as well ask you, Dennis, who do you believe will take pole position for tomorrow's French Grand Prix?
I think it will be quite a boring answer, but I think Franco Lopez will take pole. He topped Q1 with some margin. I think Q2 as well. So yeah, he's my guess for pole.
Well, I'm our car top Q2, by the way, Dennis. I thought I mentioned that. But
Memory of a goldfish.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Armar Carr for pole position. I'm going to go with the other Mercedes to grab the pole position. But obviously, I haven't seen anybody put a prediction, in fact, in that hold that for, because somebody has. So I'll wait until we get onto the track. I kind of jumped the gun there a little bit there. But anyway, as we now wait then for the final part of qualifying to get underway to determine who is going to get pole position for tomorrow's French Grand Prix here at Paul Ricard. And it should be quite an interesting session now then, as we wait now then to see who is going to go out on track first of all. Of course, we saw that AlphaTauri like to send their cars out first on most occasions, but it looks like, looking at the top of the pit lane, it looks like it's not going to be AlphaTauri this time by. It might actually be a Mercedes, I think, that might be coming out onto the track. We'll have to wait and see as we wait for a car to trundle down pit lane. There is a car coming down the pit lane, and it is a Mercedes, and it looks like Armar Carr. So Armar Carr is going to be the first one out on the racetrack, and Rob has said he predicts that Evan Byrne is going to get pole position for this. So he's actually going to go with the Red Bull for pole position. He's not actually going to go with what me and Dennis have said, and said that Mercedes will take pole. So we shall wait and see, of course, as Carr now then makes his way towards turns 3, 4 and 5 on the racetrack now then. And now making his way into the double right-hander now then we will go, as now he makes his way through the long swooping right-hander on the racetrack, as Carr will be preparing to start his lap very, very soon now. Then 5 cars are now on track, so 5 more cars yet to come out onto the race circuit now then, as Carr makes his way down the back straight before approaching the bus stop chicane. Through the left, right, and then left-hander we will go now then. As still 3 more cars yet to come out onto the racetrack now then here at the circuit Paul Ricard, as Carr will be to start his lap. I don't expect him to get caught up by any traffic whatsoever, but you never know, of course, as he now makes his way for the double right-hander, the Boissé corner. Still 1 more car needing to come out on track, and I think they're about to, looking at the mini-map on the right hand side, and they have, so Carr will not get any traffic whatsoever. Same can't be said though for the other cars. They might be in traffic, they might not be, but we shall wait and see now then, as Armar Carr makes his way into the penultimate corner now then, and now into the final corner will go Armar Carr in the Mercedes through the final turn and onto the pit straight now then. He will go, as Carr is about to start his lap now then in the Mercedes, as he heads his way onto the pit straight now then, and he starts his lap as he will now make his way into the first couple of corners now then, so through turn 1 and then into turn 2 now then will go the Mercedes driver, and now he'll make his way towards turns 3, 4 and 5 on the racetrack. So through the right, left and right we will soon go now then. Now making his way through the double right-hander we will go, as now Armar Carr now then looks like no real mistakes so far for the Mercedes driver. Let's see what his first sector time is going to look like now then, as he comes up towards the first sector point, and it is a 31.436 in the first sector now then. What's everybody else doing approaching the end of the first sector? A 31.907 for Laura Chung, a 31.663 for Barches Kloss in the first sector now then, so only really 2 tenths off a car in that first sector at the moment. A 31.553 for Quad, meanwhile. I thought it said 32 for a minute there. A 31.269 for Chatfield. So Chatfield's actually up on Carr in the first sector. His car does a 56.226 in that middle sector there, as now the Mercedes driver makes his way through the left-hander now then, and now approaching the final couple of corners. He will now go on the racetrack now then, so through the penultimate corner and now into the final corner and onto the pit straight will go Ricard in the Mercedes now then as he makes his way onto the pit straight, and Ricard is going to cross the line now then as now he makes his way across the line. It's a 127.964 now then, not the best first lap I would say for Ricard. Laura Chung across the line she goes, and she goes into second place. Bartsch Kloss goes second, so we now look at Roman Quarg in the Renault now then, also down on car at the moment by 3 tenths in the middle sector. The Frenchman crosses the line, goes into second place, finding some time in the last sector there. Chatfield goes top by 7 tenths of a second, so pretty much confirming that lap from car there was not exactly a good one, as Byrne is now up on Chatfield in the middle sector by 1/10 of a second. The Irishman now then, the championship leader, makes his way onto the pit straight, and Evan Byrne is now going to cross the line. Can he go to the top? Yes, he can on a 127.106. What about Franco Lopez? He's also up on Evan Byrne by 2/10 of a second. Lopez across the line, and he goes to the top on a 126.674. So Lopez shoots the top of the timing screens. And we now look at Miklos Gal in the Alpha Tauri as he will now cross the line, and he goes only 7th with that lap, gets in front of Loa Chung for the meantime, as in fact he might have lost some time in that last sector because he was actually up on Chatfield, and yet you can see there he makes a mistake into the Poissy corner there, clearly carrying a little bit too much speed. We have seen a few drivers making mistakes during this qualifying session. Galloway across the line goes into 6th position, just one more car to cross the line, that being George Roken. He goes into 4th position just behind Chris Chatfield there. So yeah, not very good first laps for both Roken car, but an amazing first lap there for Chris Chatfield, Dennis.
Yeah, very great lap from Chatfield indeed. And yeah, for him, I think it will be a surprise if he would start in 3rd, but everybody still has the shot. And yeah, car, look at the gap between him and Lopez. It's almost 1.3 seconds. So that was very bad for car indeed.
He needs to really knuckle down and try and find an improvement on his next flying lap. That was clearly not a very good lap for Ricard. Of course, we mentioned as well that Car is still yet to get a victory in 2022, and well, so far he's not doing himself any favours by trying to achieve that here at Paul Ricard. Roke at the moment also behind Chris Chatfield at the moment, who himself finds himself 5 tenths behind the man currently at the top, which is Franco Lopez. So again, a Mercedes at the top of the timing screens at this stage, with the championship leader Evan Byrne 4 tenths behind him in second place at this stage. The whole top 10 separated by 1.8 seconds so far in this session. Of course, Carl went out on track first, let's not forget, on that first flying lap. So whether or not he'll go out first again for the second flying lap, we shall wait and see. As Peridon, of course, just watching on as a spectator over at Renault as Gal makes his way back into pit lane now then after he made his mistake. So clearly more time to find for Miklos Gal at this stage. He was looking at possibly a very good lap, maybe even getting up into 3rd place looking at the sector times he had compared to Chris Chatfield. But yeah, clearly putting that one to waste when it came to the beginning of the 3rd sector there where he made the mistake. So yeah, obviously Gal will need to knuckle down and try again on his second flying lap. So far, nobody is blinking at the moment. I'm not seeing any mechanics until now, in fact, because Ricard is now making his way out onto the racetrack in the Mercedes, as he'll now flick off the pit limiter to begin his lap very soon. Of course, for anybody who needs a reminder, who didn't watch the practice session, of course, the tyres we are using here at the French Grand Prix will be the hard tyres. So hopefully we'll hopefully get a good race with these tyres, because so far we know that these tyres have a bit of a reputation for creating boring races. So hopefully that's not going to be the case here at the circuit Paul Ricard, as Car makes his way through the double right-hander now, then through the long swooping right-hander will go the Brit now then, as he'll be preparing to start his lap quite soon. Roman Quarg and Bartsch Kloss are both out on track as well, along with Ricard, as the Mercedes driver powers down towards the bus-stop chicane and looking to see if he can improve on that lap, because that first flying lap that Car did was a bit of a woeful one, it's fair to say. As you can see, 1.2 seconds off his teammate at the moment. Not exactly ideal for a man who is trying to go for the championship this season and is still yet to get a victory in 2022. As Car now then flat out through the right-hander he will go, as he will now make his way towards the double right-hander at the Poissy corner, as now through the first part and then into the second part now then we will go, as now Ricard prepares for his lap. Still 4 more cars yet to go out on track, so Car will be hoping he doesn't get held up by either of them as they just fizzle their way out on track. So now Car going through into the penultimate corner now then, as he now makes his way into the final corner and onto the pit straight will go the Mercedes driver. Let's see if there is any traffic by the time he gets down there as he starts his second flying lap here at Paul Ricard. Keep an eye on the right-hand side, and it looks like he's just going to be clear of his own teammate, in fact. So car, no traffic whatsoever as he now flies down towards the first couple of corners on the racetrack. We have seen a few incidents in the past few seasons in the OC, and whether we'll see a few this season, we'll have to wait and see. Car now then through into turns 3, 4, and 5. He will now go as he flicks it in through the left-hander and now into the double right-hander will go the Mercedes driver as he now makes his way through the long sweeping right-hander of turn 6 as he'll now come up towards the end of the first sector. Let's see what his first sector time is like compared to his personal best, and he's actually down by 77 thousandths of a second. Whilst we were looking at that lap, I didn't see any visible mistakes from our car. It was just a poor lap, so far he's not on an improvement at the moment, is the Mercedes driver. We'll see if he can find any time in the last 2 sectors or not, as he now makes his way down the back end of the Mistral Straight, I think this is called, as now down through the flat out right-hander. Let's see what his second sector looks like, and he's still down, but he has found a bit of time in that middle sector, but he's still down on his personal best by 39 thousandths of a second, so he needs to find something in this last sector if he wants to find a heap of time at this stage, because so far Carr is definitely struggling to hook up that Mercedes during this session, as now Carr makes his way into the final couple of corners now, then he will go, and now into the final corner, and onto the pit straight goes Armar Carr in the Mercedes as he now makes his way onto the pit straight and across the line. He will soon come. Can he find any time in the last sector? Car across the line, and yes he can, but he still remains in 5th position, but now under a second behind Franco Lopez. He hasn't been able to gain position. Quag, meanwhile, up on his personal best, 2 tenths up on his personal best, but I think that still said he was around 8 tenths down on Lopez in the middle sector. So let's see what the Frenchman is able to do in front of his home fans here at Paul Ricard. Quag coming out of the final turn has also got the Haas right behind him for company. Roman Quag making his way onto the pit straight and across the line. He will go now then, and he improves to 6th position. His Kloss goes up to 4th, a big improvement there for the Haas driver. He gets in front of Armar Carr, drops down to 6th. As a result of that, Laura Chung now then making her way out of the final turn. She's not on an improvement unless she can find time in the last sector across the line. No improvement, stays in 10th place. Jake Galloway up on his personal best. He crosses the line and he goes into 7th place with that lap. Miklos Gal is not up on his personal best, currently in 9th place at this stage now then, as he now makes his way into the final corner. Of course, he was down on his personal best in sector 3, so let's see how much time he's able to gain after that mistake now then. Miklos Gal across the line. He will go now then, and he doesn't improve. Did he make another mistake on his lap at all? Because he made a mistake on his previous lap. Chatfield doesn't improve. Did Gal make another mistake somewhere on his lap or not? Because we're not seeing a It was a slow lap apparently. That's a bit bizarre because he made a mistake on his first flying lap. Burn across the line, goes up to 2nd. Well, in fact improves, but stays in 2nd place, I should say. Lopez not up on his personal best meanwhile, as he now comes out of the final turn. As now Franco Lopez is now going to cross the line in the Mercedes, and he does not improve, stays where he is. Rote, meanwhile, is up on his personal best. What can he do? He's currently 5th. 2 tenths down on Lopez in the middle sector. But let's see if he can get onto the front row. Roke across the line. No, he can't. He goes into 3rd place. So pushes Chatfield outside of the top 3 there. But, yeah, very good lap there for Barch's Kloss on that second flying lap.
Yeah, once again, impressive lap from Kloss here. Like in Q2, yeah, he is definitely a threat for a top 6 start, because I think Carr could get another lap in. So yeah, that will be interesting to see if Kloss can keep his 5th place.
Indeed, as currently Carr is in 6th place at the moment, but we'll wait and see if anybody's going to go out there and do one more flying lap in this session now then. As we have just under 2 3/4 minutes to go in this qualifying session to determine who will take pole position tomorrow's French Grand Prix here at the Circuit Paul Ricard in Le Castellet. And just quickly double checking something this season. Of course, Lopez has had a pole position this season. He had it at the German Grand Prix, looking to see if he can get his 2nd pole of the season. But it looks like there's still some movement going on. I think there's some movement towards the top of the gouge. I don't know if that's because they're collecting one of the Ferraris back into the gouge or not, but anyway, still just over 2 minutes left to go. Looks like Roke's not going to get another flying lap in. He's only just coming out of that final corner. as we got a car moving, and I think, or no, that was my eyes that was deceiving me there a little bit. I do apologise. But anyway, they've still got under 2 minutes left. They need to be quick if they want to do another flying lap now. Then otherwise, that's going to be it for queue number 3. As Lopez is now in the garage right now. Is anybody going to go out there and do one more flying lap? As we're on 41. In fact, 39, 38, 37, 36. 35, 34, 33, and now 32, 31. There is some mechanics moving, but I think they're going to be a little bit too late. 29, 28, 27, 26. No, that's it then. So as a result of that, Franco Lopez is going to be on pole position for tomorrow's French Grand Prix here at Paul Ricard, and only a P6 start for Armar Car as he's going to slot behind Bartjes Kloss on the grid.
Yeah, that's a very big surprise. Not a good effort from Armar Car, to be honest. Only P6. But yeah, in comparison to Kloss, that's an interesting third row. Kloss and Car.
Yeah, I don't think anybody had that in their predictor bingo card. That's for sure. Now we look at Car, who's just getting some mileage in, and clearly Mercedes missing the mark there. But yeah, he's going to have it all to do from 6th on the grid now then. And, well, not exactly the qualifying he was looking for. I bet you any money he's going to be very angry with that one. But it is a second pole of the season for Franco Lopez in the other Mercedes. But he's going to have 2 very hungry Red Bulls right behind him on the grid. As a Car now then making his way into the bus stop chicane now then. As now a Car will be just getting a bit of mileage in, but it's not going to be enough because, of course, he's going to be not able to do a lap, of course. 10, 9, 8, 7, and then 6, 5, and then 4, 3, and then 2, 1, and 0. And the checker flag is out. That is the end of the session. So we're now going to take a look at how Franco Lopez got the pole position here at Paul Ricard. So me and Dennis are going to go silent and allow you to enjoy how Lopez got pole position here. And that is how Franco Lopez took pole position for tomorrow's French Grand Prix. And very, very impressive lap there for the Argentinian. But can he potentially make it back-to-back victories here in France and potentially take the lead in the Drivers' Championship from Evan Byrne? All those questions you'll be finding out tomorrow. But it is Franco Lopez on pole position with Aldroke in second place, Evan Byrne in third, with Chris Chatfield in fourth, Bodgers Kloss in fifth, Armar Carr in sixth. He'll be very disappointed with that one. Jake Galloway seventh, Roman Quagg in eighth, Mikolas Gal ninth, and Laura Chung completes the top 10. But yeah, Lopez is going to have a bit of a challenge, I think, tomorrow with those 2 Red Bulls behind.
Yeah, indeed. But as we've seen in practice and also qualifying, I think it still will be advantage Mercedes. They have the faster car here. But of course, Red Bull will give everything to stop Lopez and Mercedes from winning here.
Yep, indeed, and all those questions will be found out tomorrow. Well, that has been it then, guys, for this live stream. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. A very entertaining qualifying session indeed. And, well, hopefully we're in for an exciting race tomorrow here in France. Of course, there's no F2 this week. That'll be back next week at Austria, hence why there's not another stream after this. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. So thank you all for watching. I've been JW97. He's been Dennis. And we will see you tomorrow at 5 PM GMT for the 53-lap French Grand Prix. Till then, take care.
See you tomorrow.